because then everyone's experience is just going to go downhill from there. Because this is going to be the height of VidCon. And so I'm sorry if we ruined the rest of it for you, but this is going to be awesome. Thank you all for showing up so early. My name is Joshua Cohen. I'm the founder of a site called TubeFilter. That's TUBEFILTER.com. We write about some of these creators on stage and kind of all the YouTube and online video ecosystem. You should go check it out. It's cool. And today, I'm excited about who we have here up on stage and just kind of having a conversation between us and between you two. I want this to be very kind of proactive and very conversationally and casual, because I'm sure you have a lot of questions that are probably far more interesting than mine. But a conversation about kind of the evolution of creators on this platform and digital media creators in general, and the trials and tribulations they go through at different points in their career and their trajectory. So we have a very diverse cross-section of the content that these creators. We have a very diverse cross-section of creators represented on stage in terms of the content they're producing, as well as the point in their online video careers. So it's going to be great. We're going to have someone that can answer kind of something at every step of the way. And if everyone could just go down the line and introduce yourself and tell us who you are and a little bit about what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. My name's Ari Fitz, and I have 2 channels. The first channel is like my bigger one, and that one I talk a lot about gender, love, identity, and beauty. And on my second channel is actually my baby. It's called Tomboyish, and on that channel I make tomboy lookbooks and androgynous fashion lookbooks where I answer the question, how do you dress if you don't want to wear a prom? If you don't want to wear a dress to prom? How do you dress if you want to wear a suit? How do you dress if you're a woman and you you want to just kind of like embrace your androgyny? So I answer a lot of those questions on Tomboyish, and that's me.
Awesome. I need to check that out. Hello, my name is Peter Hollins. I make music videos online with my mouth, predominantly. I do have 2 channels. One's pretty much dead because I was like, I don't want a second channel. It's just too much.
It is.
And yeah, I've been around for a little while, and I like the YouTubes.
Hi, I'm Miriam Nielsen. I have an environmental science channel called Zentoro, but I work in my day job as a video journalist in news media.
Awesome. So Miriam, I want to start with you. Can you, because in terms of sheer size, you're the smallest creator represented here up on stage. I want to tell us a little about where you are, how you got started, and what you're working on now, and kind of your trajectory.
Okay, so I've kind of been circling in the YouTube space for a long time. A lot of my friends have been making content for a very, very long time, and I in college started producing and working in film and like shooting weddings and whatnot to pay my way through school, and kind of started putting stuff up on YouTube just to have a YouTube channel so that when I hung out with my friends who were all significantly larger creators than I am, I didn't feel completely out of place. And eventually it kind of turned into a space where I could hone my like animating and directing and shooting techniques for my more standard career as a journalist. And so my personal channel is quite small, but it gives me a platform to show what I can do for people with actual budgets and audiences.
And so is YouTube, is it like a tool for you? Is it a calling card? Is it a reel? What is kind of YouTube and your digital presence for you?
I mean, I would definitely say it's kind of all of that. I mean, my reel is on my YouTube channel, and I can showcase that I can write an educational script or shoot a documentary. But it also, I think, more is a community space for me. Like, while it also serves that purpose that I can attach it to a resume or shoot it off to a producer and be like, hey, look what I can do, it's also definitely a space for me to meet other people, which the small YouTube community is a really fun place to hang out in. There's a lot of people making really neat things, and when everyone's pretty small, it's a lot easier to reach out to them and be like, hey, you make a cool thing, let's be friends, rather than like trying to reach out to the people who have millions of subscribers. So.
And how do you enter that small YouTube community? Just like you said, just by reaching out?
Yeah, I just tweet at people. Yeah, it's a lot less intimidating when like they've got 100 subscribers or 1,000 subscribers or 5,000 versus their mentions being full all the time. So it's a lot easier to reach people making really cool stuff when they're just starting. Then
mentions are never full.
Well, I'll just tweet at you now.
So Ari, tell us how you got started, where you're at right now, and where you want to go.
Yeah, sure. So I actually had a very weird move into YouTube. I was actually in more of a traditional thing. I was on a reality show. And on that reality show, as a lot of you know, well, maybe not all of you, but you kind of feel like you don't have control over your story. You kind of feel like producers will kind of create who they want you to be in television. And so when I found out that a lot of my friends are doing YouTube and actually making careers with it, I was like, oh, that seems really cool. Maybe I can tell my own story on YouTube. And so about like 2.5 years ago, I started taking it seriously. And I hopped on YouTube and I started just making really, really awful videos. They're so bad. They were awful. But they were just kind of me sitting in front of a camera and just talking about things that I thought mattered, like my identity and like the way that I choose to love and all these things. And people really started to kind of gravitate towards them. And I think at the time I was lucky to have friends who were a little bit larger. And so I kind of had like the community, like the small community, but they were a little bit bigger than me. So I was able to like help myself but like, connect with their audiences as well. So that helped me grow. And today, now, I think I'm just really interested in doing like much bigger projects on YouTube. I feel like the platform's so rich, and there's so many things that we can do with it that we haven't even like started to explore with. And so now I'm working on like series and just kind of like more thought-provoking projects instead of me sitting in front of a camera being like, hey guys, how's it going? So yeah.
Did you have aspirations to be in front of the camera before the reality show, or was the YouTube kind of a direct response to the reality show, and that's how you got started?
It was a blend of both. So I getting on the show, I knew I was interested because I always kind of had an interest in entertainment, and I knew that I never really saw someone that looked like me in TV or on YouTube even, and so I knew that I wanted to get involved in entertainment and put myself, like my actual body, in front of a camera so more people could see that it's okay to be like brown and tall and androgynous and queer and all those things. And so that's why I was always interested in getting in entertainment. But I stayed on YouTube because of the community. I stayed on YouTube because of the ability to tell my own story in a very authentic way. And I continue to stay on YouTube because those stories get richer and richer from the community that's there.
And then in terms of your trajectory, was kind of having those relationships with bigger creators, was that the kind of most important part for you in your growth?
I would say there were two huge things that helped me grow on YouTube. One is I made friends with creators. Some were smaller, some were larger, but we always collaborated, and that helped me get connected to a variety of audiences. Some of the people some of the friends that I have on YouTube are totally different than I am. Like, I'm not vegan, but I've collaborated with a wonderful girl named Stella Ray, and her audience is totally different than mine, but they come to my channel because, I don't know, maybe they just like the way that my eye twitches sometimes. But collaborations were really, really helpful. And then the second thing is, for a point in my life, I was daily. I was making daily videos. It was the hardest thing ever. But for about basically like 6 months. It wasn't even like aggressive. There are people here who've been making daily videos for like 10 years or 7 years. But I was daily, and being consistent on YouTube is one of the best things you can do because your audience starts to get really used to seeing you and used to like hanging out with you and starting to like expect that in their day. And so being daily and then collaborating were two of the best things I ever did. And it really helped me get to where I am now.
Why'd you stop the daily?
That made me cry. Yeah, it was really, really hard. It was so hard. And more than that, I realized that I wanted to take the videos I was making a little more seriously, which is where I am now. I wanted to kind of create bigger works of art on YouTube, and not so much like adhering to a deadline. Like every morning I was like, oh my god, I gotta get this video up. And it kind of changed the way that I was making content. It was more of a like you could just tell that the love was falling out of the videos. And so now I'm not daily, but I pour myself into every video I make. And I feel like it's more of a quality versus quantity thing now. Yeah.
Thank you. Peter, where did you start? Where are you now? Where are you going?
Where I started, you know what? I got the impetus to start because I was on a reality television show called The Sing Off, but it's like a cappella for, well, American Idol for a cappella. It didn't get me anything in terms of like social media following, but it gave me like the impetus to stop recording other people and start recording myself. So I started putting videos on the YouTubes in 2011. Basically, I've kind of always followed the model that Van Gogh says, which is good artists copy and great artists steal. And that kind of has allowed me to skip a lot of trial and error and reverse engineer the people who create stuff that I look up to, and I basically copied what they did first, and then I looked back and used self-awareness and said, well, what did I like, what did I not like, you know, what are the comments saying, and then I started slowly pivoting until I made something that was much more of who I am. And then, like Ari, I learned very quickly that collaboration was incredibly conducive to fan acquisition, and so I would collaborate on virtually everything I possibly could. Keep in mind, I live kind of in the middle of nowhere as far as YouTube's concerned. I don't think that you have to live in LA. I think it's obviously a scene that everybody wants to be part of, and it makes it easier. But if you want to have a normal life and have like a life of wealth and richness, and I'm a husband and a father, those are the two things I'm most proud of, then you can really live in Iceland. It doesn't matter. Most of my collaborations, I don't even know the people. I mean, in person. Like I just finished a collaboration with an Iranian artist, which is pretty cool because he would never be even allowed in the United States, so that's kind of fun. But yeah, so I started really making content. That community kind of happened because of the collaborations and because of the people that I met through reaching out. And I do agree that like it's difficult to reach out to people above you, but if you present a value proposition that is one that is as irresistible as possible, perhaps because like you create terrific content because it's part of like what you do for a living, you can have your reel, you can say I only need you for a half an hour, it's going to look like this and this is what I'm going to expect, do you want to do it? And if you cold call 100 times, there's a good chance you're going to get one person right back and say yes, let's try it. Because like I check my mentions, it's not like I'm the biggest thing, but I love Twitter. I don't know why. It's plateauing. Anyway, so I make content all the time. Now I'm building an online education platform because I think it's much more rewarding to teach other people how to do what they love for a living than me just making music videos and making money with my own music. What else? I don't know. I like you people. They're nice people over here.
I was going to add something to that, because when I was, I mean, I'm still, I don't know, I think I'm still, I guess I'm rising. That's why I'm here. Okay, so I'm rising, but at the very early, when I was just starting, I would always reach out to people who were a little bit larger than me, and my value proposition would be, I do fashion videos, and there's no, and there's no one, also I knew kind of what my worth was to YouTube, because at the time, no one was doing any like tomboyish fashion, and so I would go to beauty bloggers that had like millions of subscribers and say like, hey, I noticed you haven't done like a tomboy video. It'd be really cool for us to collaborate on that. And no pressure to put it on your channel, which obviously like that's how you're gonna get the most subscribers, but sometimes you gotta kind of like, you gotta take the loss and say like, hey, I'll just do this and I'll put it on my channel. There's no pressure for you. Here again, here's the schedule. You can show up to this place where I can come to you. You just kind of make it like very, very easy. And I can tell this to all of you as well. Sometimes it really is like just doing a really deep dive on what you can offer to someone and then just bring it to them and have like no strings attached. Like, hey, you know, I'd love to make this for you and I'd love to put it on my channel. You don't have to post it, you don't have to tweet it, but if you think it's great, feel free to do it. And I think that approach really helped me because I ended up collaborating and just making really good friends with people who were a lot larger than I was.
Yeah, I mean, just to add again, because this is like just overall business strategy 101. If you're starting out in a new vertical, the best thing to do is provide value to the people in the business and not expect anything. And that's literally how you start. You provide value, don't expect anything. The relationship is so much more valuable in the end, both from a knowledge perspective and as a relationship, than like anything you can gain from like a metric numbers perspective. So it's really hard to focus on that when you first start because you're like, I just need to pay for my ramen noodles. I need something. But you know, time equity really.
And that's a really smart tactic, Ari, because lots of these bigger creators, they're always looking for new ideas and new content. So that makes a lot of sense. Peter, so you, I mean, obviously you're big on YouTube, but also Facebook has been a really big platform for you. Patreon has been a really big platform for you. Kind of like, at what time in your career were you able to not make the transition, but just kind of expand your focus beyond just one platform? And do I need to start on one and then expand later? Should I expand all out now? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's quintessential to create your brand and make it synonymous across all social media platforms. And now that can be a daunting task, but you need to basically be every single place that your audience is. So if your favorite place to be is Snapchat and I'm not there with my name and you expect to find me, then I'm not doing my due diligence and I'm not staying up to 4 a.m. working my ass off like I should be. You have 18 hours in a workday to work, and if you're doing other things, then you're not really serious about being a creator. Actually, let's just ask this question. How many people out there consider yourself a creator or wanting to be a creator? Excellent. Or fathers or mothers of creators. So that's like total majority. So like the point in the end is I forgot the question, and that you should work super, super hard. What was the question?
It was so if I'm a starting creator and I'm just creating for YouTube and I'm trying to either do this on the side or make some ramen noodles, it can be incredibly daunting to be like, oh, I gotta have an Instagram, a Snapchat, a Musical.ly, all this other stuff. But so should I establish myself on one platform first and then expand? How did you do it? What do you think makes the most sense?
Right. I mean, well, your goal, in no matter what, is that you create a pillar of content, and that content is then used on multiple platforms, right? You just repurpose it. And so you can't always put all of your horses in one basket, eggs in one basket. That's the metaphor. Anyway, because no matter what, a platform can pivot and it can basically take you out of existence, and you have to be able to have eggs in all of the baskets, hands in all the cookie jars. And so I believe no matter what, that you just have to put in a ton of work in the beginning, be everywhere, and then you create your content, you create your videos, and then you cut that up where it should be. So like, this is 2017. The 3 places you have to be releasing content simultaneously are YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Like minimum, right? And then any other places basically a discussion with your audience, because if you want to be successful as an influencer and as a creator, it's not about what you create, it's about who you are and that relationship with your audience. And that's number one. I don't care if you're the best singer in the world and the best songwriter, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you are personable. The person looking through this device right here, and pretty soon, let's be honest, right here, or like in your freaking eyeball, looks at you, looks directly into the camera and says, I identify with this person likes what I like, and I like what they're about. Which goes to another reason that you have to be authentic, which is the stupidest word everybody says, but you have to love what you do, you have to love the journey, and you have to work your tail off. Did I answer your question? Yes, and be everywhere at the same time. I know it's hard, but all these new platforms are going to pop up. They're like the next social media platform. Like, how quickly did Musical.ly get to 100 million active users? Like, you go back in the next one, Snapchat, how quickly did it get to 100 million users? And then the next one, it's exponentially growing. Therefore, in my opinion, if you want to give yourself the best chance to be successful, you need to really be an early adopter of these new social media sites, because in doing so, if you become like the top 5%, the top 1% of one of those platforms, it then allows you to cross-pollinate across all of your social media platforms incredibly well, and that value proposition to the bigger user, influencer, creator, what are we going to call ourselves? Creators, brands, I don't know, okay, is infinitely better. So in the end, work really hard, love what you do. Cheers.
I think that's a good answer. I especially commend your self-censorship. It sounded like I had a button, but that was just you on your own.
I don't like cussing, but when I get passionate, I cuss.
So, and one more question about the Patreon component for you. I know that's been a big part of your brand, of your creator.
Oh my gosh, every single freaking creator should be on Patreon. It's like the biggest no-brainer.
And when should I start though? Start from day 0?
Okay, yes, absolutely. But you have to know the expectations, right? If you have not established relationships with.
Also, what is Patreon?
Okay. Absolutely. Patreon, let's see, I'm going to break this down in a way that is easy to digest. Does everybody know what Kickstarter is? Okay, Kickstarter is like crowdfunding, right? Patreon is a never-ending Kickstarter, although I don't look at it as crowdfunding anymore. I truly more so look at it as like a membership site. So if you think of that, you have basically a gated community, and you're not gating content, you're gating a relationship, and it's a 95-5% split, which is really creating like the infrastructure for the creator revolution that we're in, and companies that are basically creating a monetization strategy that is made for creators. If you're not on it, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you have people out there working 9-to-5 jobs that want to be part of some artistry and can't because it's just not part of their destiny maybe, but they want to be part of the journey, and so you have to allow them to be part of your journey. And so if somebody comes along and says, I really identify with this person, I want to be part of what they're doing, you have to allow them, give them the opportunity to be like, I want to give you $5 every month. I want to give you $5 every time you upload a video. So I see Patreon basically as the quintessential stress reliever to me. I'm like, I know I'm guaranteed thousands and thousands of dollars every time I release a video, and that allows me to say, okay, well, I'm hiring this person and this person and this person and this person, and all of a sudden I have a team around me, and I'm able to be 10 times better, let's be honest, 1,000,000 times better than I really am, because I put people around me that make me look good, and Patreon allows that to happen.
So I want to get to some audience questions in a minute, so think of them now, but first I'll go down the line and ask some more. So Miriam, you're where you are now. Where do you want to be, and how are you getting there?
Oh my god. So I kind of go back and forth on this. So like, kind of to preface what I said earlier about, I like being part of this small creator community. I kind of reserve a lot of my reaching up for the day job thing. Like in my journalism career, I have no problem cold emailing a researcher or someone higher profile and like getting them involved with the project. But I really enjoy the small YouTube community and interacting with all the people there and kind of reaching out, because like if you think about how the YouTube pyramid works, there's a lot of people at the top, but there's even more people kind of spread across this area of, I hate microphones, of the middle to lower tier, and it's fascinating, diverse, and full of people making all this incredible content, and I just really want to meet, interact, and watch as many of those people as possible. If my personal channel grows from that, that's great, but I don't necessarily want to turn my own channel into my full-time job. Like, I have a career elsewhere, and I'm about to head off to grad school, so it's like a different, it's like two sections of my life. It's like YouTube is this fun, cool playground to hang out with all my friends in, and then it just happens to connect with what I do in my day job. If that answers that question at all.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
All right, same question.
Like I said earlier, I think I've had a lot of fun on YouTube, and I continue to have a lot of fun on YouTube. In so many ways, I think YouTube has become my incubator. It's become my place to play with ideas of story, and I've always had an interest in entertainment, and so now I'm kind of building shows and building things outside of YouTube and within YouTube as well that are a little bit bigger, TV series, movies, films, etc. And so YouTube is kind of my place that I'm full-time, so it like funds my life. But more than that, it's a place where I experiment. It's a place where I can play with a new video series, or I can, create like a collaboration series with friends. I think I'm like really, the perfect blend of the two of you, because YouTube is in a lot of ways like my life source and the way that I think about my career, but it's also it's my incubator. It's the foundation for a lot of the things that I'm planning on working on and building in the future. I went on Real World, and what I told everyone when I started is very true today, and that is that I ultimately want to make horror movies. I want to make scary movies until I'm like 85, and that's always been a goal. I've always wanted to make movies, and I think that's still been very true and like deep in my heart. I just kind of shoved it to the side, and so now that I have YouTube, now that I have an audience that like loves my content despite whatever weird stuff I put on there, it's cool that they'll follow me then to those other places, to the movie that I put out, to the TV series that I produce. So YouTube is life, But YouTube is very much like my, I'll say it again, my incubator.
So how do you balance the kind of incubation portion versus the this is my job, I need to make a living at this portion of your YouTube career?
Yeah, so similar to you, I have a Patreon account, and I also have ways that kind of makes earning a living a little less stressful now. Because before, when I first started and I went full time, I was like, how am I going to pay my rent? Oh my God, let's go daily and let's make a lot of videos so that way I can actually fund my lifestyle. Now it's a little bit more chill, and so I only produce now a video a week, and from doing that, I can fund my life, and also I can play with these ideas. And then with all that extra time, I'm working on much bigger projects. I'm developing a TV series now. So it's cool that I'm always going to be committed to YouTube through Patreon, because I promised my patrons that I would give a video once a week. But then I have this free time to experiment, to write that horror film script, to meet up with other friends and figure out what our collaboration series is going to be. I just have a lot more freedom, and I think doing so has really, really helped me to love YouTube even more now. Because again, when I was daily, it was stressful and it felt kind of like a job, and I didn't want it to feel that way because it was a disservice to my audience. But now YouTube is fun, and YouTube is my incubator, and I have free time to kind of work on these bigger projects. I am so long-winded, guys. I'm so sorry about that.
No, that was great. Peter,
Sir,
what's next?
What's next? I am super stoked about this education platform I'm building. I see an incredible gap in the marketplace, specifically music industry, because we've been being taken advantage of for decades, where you have not only traditional schools, but marketing, sleazy people who try to take so much money from musicians and teach them things that is totally irrelevant. And so I'm basically...
Can you just, you don't have to name names, but can you give us, for people that may not know, can you give us an example of what the type of thing you're talking about?
What the type of thing? Well, okay, so for instance, if you're interested in music and you want to make that your living, there's a few places you can choose to go that supposedly you're supposed to get that, like the Berklee School of Music, which has the biggest brand and name, and that's going to cost you $45,000, $50,000 a year to go to. And good on you, that's awesome. But in the music industry and in schools of music around the United States and even the world, they teach you very granular subjects, theory, oral skills, keyboarding, this is your instrument. But they don't truly actually teach you how to make money, which in the end kind of is a goal. So it either perpetuates the problem of higher education, which we don't really need to get into, or you can go a different route and not go traditional and go online and be like, teach me how to do X. And you can find things where it's like $1,500 for a course by this person that was this person's manager 10 years ago, and no. So if being taught by somebody that's simultaneously doing it, I think, and is simultaneously understanding what the platforms are doing, where you should be uploading, how you should be doing it, I think that's super quintessential, especially I don't need to make more money, I'm already making fine money, so I'm going to do it at as cost as possible. So yeah, super stoked about that, and I'm in talks to license it to my Division I school, University of Oregon. If I do that, then it's basically turnkey solution to all the other universities, and so hopefully I can kind of reteach music, because I just feel like it's just sorry, not all of you guys are music people, but the music industry says you don't make money off this. Well, the media says that we don't make money off of streaming. Not true. And that you have to make a living on the road, and that you have to tour. Also not true. I don't do that. I do just fine. Why can't I, as a musician, be home in my cul-de-sac with my son and my wife and have a life? Well, you can, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. So that's what I'm going to start with, and that's what I'm doing, and I like it a lot, and it's fun, and I still upload once or twice a month.
Awesome.
A year.
We have questions from the audience? Don't be shy.
There's a microphone. You should come up. It's fun to stretch your legs.
Can you stand up and use the mic?
Yeah. This is kind of more directed specifically towards Peter Hollins, because I'm interested in that education program you're talking about, and I was wondering when, is that started yet, and where would I go to find it?
Yeah, so it, not to be like, oh, me, but it's just peterhollins.com/Creator Academy.
Okay.
And the curriculum is currently being built. I have beta testers that are testing out the Android, iOS, and desktop application, because I'm building it on a platform that's really built around community and gamifies it, because I feel like when I was going to school, the people that really helped me the most, the teachers, weren't the ones that had their pedagogy the best, but were the ones that were the most inspiring to kick me off my arse and actually act. And in the end, that's the only way you really are going to learn. I can sit there and preach to you and be super passionate, but if you don't do it, you don't learn. Because it's like, the more you fail, the more you learn. So I'm going to teach you how to fail, and then in doing so, how to learn. But yeah, it's just Creator Academy. I talked about it after the end of a few of my videos a couple months ago, but it got way too many people, and I was like, I'm not ready, and I freaked out, and so. But you can come. Come and sign up.
Some more questions? You guys can just get in line too.
Yeah, my question is for those, I guess the two of you that are on Patreon. I'm curious how you guys approach like the messaging for Patreon, because I guess as a content creator, I've done pretty much all my content for free over the last 5-6 years.
Right.
How do you, and so people aren't really like used to the idea of like.
Can I just stop you right there? Because that's the first, in my opinion, biggest issue and problem with the way people look at that. And it's because of the idea in your head that you are asking for money and support. And the entire messaging truly is that you are offering up something to people who want to support you. We're in like a thank you economy. People, if you've been creating content and you've been doing it for free, no matter what, you have people, whether it's just your friends and family, that want to support you because they love what you do. Either they love what you do because they know you personally, or they love what you do because you provided value to their life. So you basically invite them to the journey. You don't say, I need your money because I need to. Yeah. Also, okay, 4 different Patreon campaigns to look at that are really, really good for different ways. Philly D just launched his campaign, and he put it around a timeline that was super important because he was launching his new news site. And so the way he uses all of his verbiage is brilliant, and the copywriting is perfect, on point. It's like, I'm doing this so I can do this, and if you want to be part of this, let's do this together. For me, it's about the community that I've fostered. So it's like, hey, Holland's family, I want to do these songs that you want me to do, because these people who are my evangelists, like, are the only people I care about. Like, those 4,000 people, like, I have all these millions of whatever, that doesn't matter. Those 4,000 people are literally what pays for my health insurance, my house. I mean, you get my point, right? Allow them to be part of your journey. And so whatever that means to you and your brand and your voicing, that's what that needs to be. Sorry for talking so much.
I was going to add, so I'm a smaller person on Patreon, and I started it about, I got serious about it about 6 months ago. What I also offer is an ability to get to know me a little bit more intimately. So my patrons, we have like regular monthly hangouts, and everyone knows each other, and everyone, it really is like a community. They have their own private chats, they have their own private real hangouts. I think actually some of my patrons are planning vacation this summer, and so they've actually fostered and created like a real family amongst each other. And so my sell to the people that watch my videos are, like, if you want to be a part of the Misfits community and the Misfits family, all you have to do is join on Patreon, and you have access to this really rich, dope group of people that talk every single day. So it's the great thing is it's beyond me. It's no longer about me. It's about this family and these really, really awesome, epic, mostly women who support each other, love each other, call each other if they're sick or hungry or whatever. And that's why people are starting to buy into my Patreon account. So monthly hangouts, and then also the ability to be a part of these private chats.
Yeah, I totally miss that. It's all about. This sounds way too businessy because this isn't what I'm about at all, but in the end, if you're looking at it from top down macro, you're monetizing the relationship with your audience, right? And whatever that means to your brand and your audience, it could be that you're providing technical XYZ, and so you offer that as reward perks. Just make sure when you set up your account that it's in a way that as you grow, it is sustainable for you from a time perspective to manage, right? So it's as much value as you can provide with as little amount of time on your end. Not that you don't care about, I answer every single message, every single comment on there, because it's the most important thing for me. But yes, what she said.
Yeah, and I want to add, I also technically have a Patreon. you're just starting out with the Patreon, and it's kind of goes against Patreon's like recommended way to do it. But I started when soft launch and didn't like announce it at all, and just started dropping links in my description and at the end of the video without like, they recommend making a video and announcing that you have a Patreon, which for me, I wasn't comfortable doing where I'm at on my own channel. I just started dropping it, and the people that really wanted to support me found it anyway. Like one person found it before I had started, like I built it to see what the platform was like before I even had any desire to do it, and someone found it. So I was like, I guess I'll just leave the link around. So like if you, depending on where you are, like if you already have an audience, you're probably better off doing the like just launch it and go. But if you are not super comfortable either asking for money or like welcoming that support of people who want to help you, I just recommend setting one up and just letting people find it. And then it will make you more comfortable and kind of get a sense of how to use the platform.
I also think audiences today are really savvy and knowledgeable about what their favorite content creators are going through and the economics around creating content online. It's crazy. You look at the YouTube comments, or you look at Patreon comments, or you look at Reddit comments, and this audience gets that you need to make a living, and that you asking whether it's Patreon or merchandise or whatever else, that it's supporting you. And so I wouldn't feel, I know it can feel, like Peter said, it can feel icky or something you don't want to participate in, asking people for money, but changing your mindset around that. It's asking people for support and being a part of the journey, and they actually, it's crazy, but they get it. They get how watching a YouTube ad is good for the creator that they're supporting, and how buying merchandise is good for the creator supporting it.
Finally.
Yeah,
it wasn't
Patreon is good for the creator that they're supporting.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm a little anxious, so if I talk really fast, just tell me to slow
You're
down.
totally fine.
Okay, so I really want to start my own channel, and I have one, and I'm setting it up. How did you guys get over like the fear of asking bigger people to help you? Because I know with my anxiety, it's really hard to approach someone, even my own size and channel-wise, to say, hey, we should do this thing. I really want to like talk with you and be your friend. Did you like ever feel like that fear, and how did you get over that if you did?
So, and this is similar to what I was talking about earlier, I think the best thing you can do is kind of look at all the things that you have to offer. For me, there was no one else on YouTube that was doing like tomboy fashion videos, and so I kind of knew that, and I went through and I learned a lot about the people that I wanted to work with, who were a lot bigger than I was as well. And then I reached out and said like, hey, you haven't done a video like this. Are you interested? Could I help you do that? And I think just the approach, just a very like simple, easy, like this might be something that's interesting to you, really helped me out. But yeah, I'll pass it to everyone else.
In your head, you have to really brainwash yourself. You aren't asking, you're giving. And so that needs to be kind of the way you start, especially in the beginning. Not only from the perspective that you have so much to learn. So it is beneficial, especially for probably where it seems like your mindset is, that you go at it from the perspective that you go to somebody who has similar numbers, because I think you might be in your own head. But then you offer what you have and what makes you unique, and you do all the work. Like that's the thing to make something like completely irresistible. Like my offers to people were always, I do all the work, I pay for everything, like all production, and then at the back end, because in the end you're selling or streaming a song, I split everything gross revenue 50-50 from the first penny. So it's like whatever you do, whatever your mechanism is, like make it as easy as possible for the person, and never, holy crap, ever reach out and say, can we collab? Like don't do that. I will just bang my head against the wall forever. Like no one's ever going to respond. It's very good, as much as possible, to have your pitch be as concise as possible, most value. You know who the person is, so you know you've already analyzed this person, what they do, and how you can provide value. So it's like jab, jab, jab. You don't go, give me.
One more thing to add to that too. I am probably the least likely here to know any large YouTubers. I don't follow a lot of YouTubers, like at all. And I think that helps me because I've always focused on my audience. I just make videos. I'm just there to make videos. And I think the best thing that you can do is actually kind of focus on your audience first before you start looking up and before you start looking at different people to collaborate with. Because the first thing I'll do, and I'm sure you guys can probably speak to this, when I want to collaborate with someone is I check out their content. And if I were to check out your channel and you have all of these amazing videos that you're putting out consistently, that your audience clearly loves, I'm like, wow, there's something about this girl I really want to work with her. So maybe instead of looking up, focus down kind of and focus on your audience. Really, really put your life into your work. And then I think after that, it's just going to be so much easier to collab and connect with people.
Okay, thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, you're so right. Don't forget, your YouTube channel is your digital resume.
Yeah.
So don't reach out and try to do collaborations until you've proven to yourself and to the person you're reaching out to. Because so if you write this awesome letter, and I'm like, okay, well, or tweet, or whatever, because we can talk on anything now, right? And I click through and I see nothing, then that's the end of my journey in researching you. But if then it's like, oh, this, oh, no, that, then I'm like, okay, I'll write this person back and find out more.
Oh, and I mean, maybe even include a video that's like, hey, you did a video that was like this, I did a video that's like this. Maybe we can just really having references within your content is so great. Like someone sent me a collaboration email and they gave me a bulleted list of all the videos that I had done and they had done that were very similar. And I was like, whoa, heck yeah, we should totally work together. So yeah, basically we're saying the same thing.
Yeah, you also don't only have to reach out with the intention to collaborate, especially if you're just starting out and you see someone doing something you really like. It's okay to ask hey, how did you do this thing? I'm really interested in starting. I mean, because I work really in production, really appreciate when people are like, hey, can you explain to me how you built this graphic? Or where you learned this one thing? And that's a lot easier for me to respond to. I don't have to think about a full production, making a bunch of videos, and it's an easy way to make friends. And once you know more people in the space, it's easier to be like, oh, you're friends with this other person, can we meet? And it's like how you would interact with people in real life. It's not, you don't have to make it a lot more different than how you would meet someone new at school or something.
Agreed. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You did great, by the way. You're awesome.
Hi, I have an art channel on YouTube, and I've been doing it for about a year. And I find it really, really, really hard to upload consistently, especially because I put so much work into my videos. But especially when you don't have a super big response, or you're not really getting a lot back from the videos, it's really hard to gain inspiration. And I know that it's kind of art isn't super relevant right now. Art YouTubers aren't super relevant, and so I don't know. Yeah, do you have any tips to upload consistently when you're not doing it?
I can speak to that as someone that attempted for 6 months. Well, I did go daily for a while. So I was in a different position because I was already full-time, and I had the incentive was I wanted to pay rent. So one thing that really, really helped me was I created a content calendar, and the content calendar was synced to my phone. It was synced to all of my calendars everywhere, and it just reminded me hey, get this video out, because I knew that consistency is the #1 thing when it comes to being active and being relevant on YouTube. And so the incentive really was I wanted to grow, I wanted a bigger audience, and it kept me going. So a content calendar, you can find a ton of different variations. Just type in YouTube content calendar on Google or something like that, and just really plan out the kinds of videos that you want to make, and make sure they're interesting. Make sure you actually like them and it's fun to make, because otherwise there's really no point in you doing it in the first place. But building a content calendar, do it for the entire month, and stick to it is the one thing that really helped me. And today I swear by that thing. I love it. Yeah.
And how old are you?
I'm 16.
Yeah, you're 16. You have the world ahead of you. Make sure that you understand truly that any real business, which is what you're doing by starting, takes a lot of time, hours, and grit. So you have to start somewhere. And again, your YouTube channel is going to be your resume. So just because, and I know the most difficult thing is when it's like crickets, right? You work your butt off. But just making the content itself it's just literally half the journey. The other half is self-promotion like a crazy horse. So if you want that feedback, it's this is what I love, guys, family, friends, I need you to look at this. When I first started, it was texting, email, anything and everything I could do. I was the biggest self, it was, but it's fine. It's who I am. I'm proud of this and I don't care. So that will provide you with a little bit more oomph. Second to that, find a schedule, stick to it, make it your mission. I mean, the first 2 years I would just stay up until I saw the sun coming up, and I'd be like, okay, I better go to bed now.
Stay healthy. You have a lot of life to live still. I pulled too many all-nighters, so don't do that.
But they can do it now, because when you're old like me, it's impossible.
Health is important.
Find that balance. Okay.
Hi. This one's specifically for Miriam. So I'm actually in school for journalism now.
Oh, cool.
And I wanted to create content on YouTube before, but does it interfere with like your journalism career at all? And I feel like I'm definitely more on like the writing aspect. I'm always worried that if I create it, then I'm going to get potential employers seeing it and looking down on it and not hiring me because of it and being like what is she? She's unprofessional or whatever. So how does it interfere with your journalism career at all?
Yes and no. So, like you can get into the legal side of things. When I started the two like big journalism jobs I've had at different companies, I had to like go through my contract and make sure that all of the entities that I had made, they couldn't own, I could still work on. There's all of that stuff. I have been specifically hired because of my YouTube channel. Like they flat out told me that's why, like they didn't care about the other crap on my resume. But it does depend on like where you want to end up. Like if you want to work at a local newspaper, they probably won't care. Like local journalism is incredibly important, and they probably won't notice unless they're a particular conservative, liberal-based newspaper and you do something different. But my like general feeling on that is if I'm making something that I am proud of and I don't necessarily want to work for a company that thinks what I make there is a negative. The other thing I would say is fact check. Don't put anything up that anyone could find fault with, because in journalism that's like the most important thing to get it right, especially in the world we live in right now.
Thank you.
I also think the potential upside far outweighs the downside, because people today, regardless of what job, they're going to find someone who's already done something. Like people talk to me about, I'm an indie web series creator, I just want to get started, I have this vision, I want to go into television or whatever else, and then I'll say, okay, send me what you've done already, and they'll say like, well, I just have a script or I have this thing. But the only way they're going to get that other job is if someone, like the person who's hiring them for this other job or this television show or whatever else, is going to hire someone that they already know about because they've seen their content and they've seen that it exists. So I think the potential upside there of putting yourself online just far outweighs the potential downside of anyone that cannot hire you because of it.
Yeah, also if you want to talk about this more, you can get my email afterward. And
I will. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name's Lucas. My question for you guys was, because Peter, you were talking about how you need to be active on as much as you can, just kind of like get yourself out there, put everything everywhere, because you need to be where your audience is. Because where I'm at is I needed I didn't really have the backing of a lot of people behind me to try to like help me get to a place where I can be doing what I want to do, like putting videos up every week, doing that kind of thing. So I had to get my own job. I was just able to buy my first camera, so I'm able to like finally get where I thank you. So I'm finally able to like start putting things up, start putting up like what I envision. But in starting out, there's a lot of like it does take a lot of time for trying to put yourself everywhere and still trying to like take care of yourself and do all that kind of stuff. I'm just wondering like what advice can you give to somebody in my position where it's like you want to put yourself out there, you want to put yourself everywhere that you can be, and it's really just like you might not necessarily have the time when you're still starting out and it's not returning.
Right. So keep in mind that like you can have goals, but you have to slowly build and like take those small successes. So first and foremost, like when I say be everywhere, at least claim your branding and your name everywhere and create that name and design so people know that it's you. When I say that, it's pretty much like in the beginning, it's actually pretty easy because I want you to respond to every single person on every single social media site. That is completely doable for a long time because I did that until I had like I was crazy. But that's a little bit more my point, because if somebody walks into this is literally what it is. If somebody walks into your mom and pop bookstore on Fifth Avenue, they walk in and they go, huh, this place is cool, can you tell me more about it? And you don't say anything. It's the same thing if you're on Twitter, you're on Instagram, there's a comment, they ask you a question. You want to be able to like white glove that person. They come, they ask, you're there, right? That's my point. To get to like where you have to release every week, that is a good goal to set, but in the beginning you have to do something that you're able to pull off. So you have to start. You have to make sure that you're not just completely, totally overwhelmed by the fact that I just told you to do everything. That's where you want to get. But you have to start, release your first thing, and go back, look at it. What did I like? What did I not like? Start your next thing. It's just, you got to get the ball rolling now.
Where is it that you want to go? Like, what is it that you want to do with your channel?
I really like the environment that like YouTube creates, where it's like you can just be yourself and you can say what you want to say. And essentially, what I want to do is I just want to put myself out there and I want to give advice to like to people who are going through hard times. I want to be able to like just say, this is the kind of person that I am. This is the mindset that I have, and that I just want to talk about what the kind of person that I am. I want to talk about hear who other people are and just like create the environment and do all that kind of stuff. And through comedy, I also like directing and acting and doing all that kind of stuff. So I put out, I want to put out the movies and content that I'm able to create with me and my friends, and really just like everything that I can create, just create a channel and a place to put it.
I think the best thing, the single best thing, is to actually think a lot about who it is specifically that you want to reach. Like maybe build a persona around them. Where do they like to eat? Where do they actually go to have fun? Like really think about your audience and who it is that you want to reach. And ideally, it's a small subset of people. And you then, once you have an idea of that audience, you have a persona kind of built around that audience, it's so much easier to find them and connect with them. Maybe some of them aren't on Instagram. Maybe some of them aren't on Facebook, but really think about like specifically, are they into anime? I love anime, by the way. Are they into, the style of comedy that you're into? Basically, just really think about the audience first and then go after them, because it's like, I think it gets so overwhelming if you're a YouTuber and you're like, I want to do all these things for everybody. It's just impossible. It's not possible at all. And so I think the best thing that you can do is think specifically and build like an actual, like write this down, open a like Google Doc and document this person that you want to reach, an audience profile or whatever, an audience persona. Build that, like actually build that, and then go after that specific group of people.
And then after you do that and you build it, go back into your analytics after 18 months and actually see who you attracted, because it changes.
That's so true. My audience is nothing like I thought it was.
Thank you very much, guys.
So we almost have to wrap up, but a question for each of you. If you could go back to when you were first starting and tell yourself something or wish that you knew something, what would that be? Miriam, you want to start?
Start editing on Adobe sooner. Oh god, yeah. Also, you're gonna get more comfortable in front of a camera. It's okay to hate it. It sucks.
Mine would be, don't forget why you started.
Mine would be just to work harder and start sooner, but that's impossible. But yeah, I mean, you just don't really know what work is until like you get to it and you're like, oh, this is what I should have been doing 5 years ago. I don't know. I mean, we find out.
And then where can we find all of you?
My name's Ari Fitz, and my project's Tomboyish. If you type that into anything, I've done a really good job. If you type that into anything, you can find me. But mostly on YouTube, mostly on Instagram, and mostly on Twitter.
This is my name. This has a name tag. But if you just type in this, it's usually just like me and Peter Pan. I don't fly, so I'm pretty easy to decide like which one I am. I don't wear green tights. Well, sometimes, but that's like, personal. So.
That sounds like a book.
If you can spell Zentoro, you can find me on literally anything. Like I am a very early adopter to every piece of tech I can find. So.
What's that name?
Zentoro.
What's the genesis of that name?
It's one of those things from when I was like very, very young, and I put my first and last name into an Elven name generator, and I combined them.
Yes!
Super cool, but it's never taken anywhere, and so I can always get it.
That's awesome.
So thank you all so much for showing up so early. Thanks everyone on stage. An amazing VidCon. and we'll see you around.